edition of it now, thanks to Stephen Babcock, whose single, Hockey Town, came out today. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, fellas. Thank you so much.
First address you lived in here in Buffalo.
I do live here in Buffalo, yes. I am here. I'm in Hockey Town. This is like Hockey Town, USA.
How many places have you lived in Buffalo, and how many years of your life?
So I've been in Buffalo specifically for the last 5 years, but I grew up actually, funny enough to kind of tie in with Tuck. I grew up more in the center of the state, right outside of Utica, New York, in a town called New Hartford, New York, so a small suburb of a small city. And that's kind of the impotence, or what kind of prompted the song to kind of come together is growing up in like a small town that was really much more about hockey than it was about any other major sport. So that's kind of where that comes from.
A good friend of mine and former goalie in the NHL, Robert Ashe, is from around
Robert
Utica.
Ashe. Oh, I know all about Robert Ashe.
Chico used to call it God's country. When we would go down there, it'd be like, that's the best place. I just texted him last week. He's great. He's awesome. So I've been in that neck of the wood.
Yeah.
We played charity games in Clinton, in Utica, in that area. So
that's right. That's right where I'm from. And I'm funny enough, Robert Ashe, I think it was his sister was a third-grade teacher, and she was my twin brother's third-grade teacher. So she brought into school, again, leaning into the whole Hockey Town thing, she brought in one of his jerseys to class and showed, so my brother had her as a teacher. I didn't have her as a teacher, but then because everyone was so excited, it was a signed jersey, had it available. We all could go see it. We were like, holy smokes. I mean, because, again, where we were from, it was just nobody was going, it was so hard to go pro. It was just like, so when you knew somebody who kind of, knew somebody who did, it was like a trip. So
well, the buzz 20 years ago in the 05-06 season started with a playoff series against the Philadelphia Flyers. Robert Ashe, Danny Briere, double OT backdoor, that's what it was. So your song, Hockey Town, I watched the little video, the clip we just put out. I have goosebumps, right? I've seen the fans. And all of that. What do you want the song to be? What do you see the song becoming?
That's a great question. I think for me, when I wrote the song, it started because I was in the Southeast, funny enough, and I was sitting around with people, songwriters in Nashville and in Charlotte, North Carolina, working on some songs, and everyone was talking about their high school experience of being growing up, and everyone was playing football, and so went to this big SEC school and all that. And when it came my time to talk about growing up, I was like, well, I grew up in a hockey town, and I think everybody just looked at me and said, okay. And then I said, all right. But then I went home, and I was like, here I am. I live in Buffalo. That maybe just saying that means more than just I'm in a town that, I grew up in a place that really hockey mattered almost more than any other sport. Mm-hmm. It's more about being an anthem for this area and for the people here. And I think my hope is that, it's great to be here in KeyBank Center, to talk about this is what all I've ever really wanted for the song is that I could tie it in some way with the team that I love and the local place that I love. But I hope it becomes an anthem for the Rust Belt and for people who grew up in the Northeast.
Well, how long has it been in the works? That doesn't necessarily mean physically as far as laying down the music. I just mean in your head. And you're a dad now,
I am.
And
yes.
I'm wondering how much that gives you pause to think about your own childhood and then trying to put it into existence for your child.
It's the song has taken some time to come together, and obviously that writer's trip where the idea originally sparked and that phrase Hockey Town came to mind for a song title. That's probably maybe almost 3 years ago now. And then I ended up writing it, finished it, and played it. I was living in Buffalo, obviously, at the time, still do, and was playing the song out constantly. And to see the reaction from people was really interesting because I think people identified with it at a deeper level, which is obviously the goal of the song. Mm-hmm. And then I played it once, was it 2 seasons ago, I think. I played it here in the arena as an intermission band. My band played it here, and I remember they cut away. I remember, Duffer, you said, I really like that song. It's really connected with, what I think this is all about. And so that's been really exciting. And then, as you mentioned, having a child now, raising him in Buffalo. He was born in Buffalo. Just all of that world building coming together, it's really a trip. And now he's old enough where, for the Bills season, we're starting to watch the Bills games together, and he doesn't really know what's going on, but he likes the players, he likes the jerseys, and now it's this is his first hockey season. He's almost 2. he can really like understand. And it's like you get like a little Chico stick, a little floor hockey stick. You can get him in there and start.
You see Sabretooth on the TV.
You see Sabretooth on TV. Oh yeah, he loves all of it, and it's just like the way I was raised. I have 2 brothers and a sister, and so we were a rough and tumble gang, and we were always playing sports. Outside, inside, in the basement of our house. It was all part of it. So I think that's really the ethos of the whole song.
So every hockey player want to be a rock star.
Is that so?
Like, I watched the video. I see you playing the guitar. I'm like, oh, man, I've had a guitar for 20 years. I don't know anything. My daughter stole it, and she plays now because at least somebody's using it.
Yeah.
But I feel like every hockey player want to be a rock star, and there's rock stars that want to be athletes. So
yes.
Did you play? You said you played sports with your brothers and sister, but did you play hockey? Is that a big part of you as well? I
would have always loved to have been an athlete if I was good enough. I just wasn't good enough. Maybe I got to blame my parents are watching. Maybe I got to blame them for that. But no, all jokes aside, I was never a good enough athlete. I played a lot of football. I played some hockey. We played a lot of. Even I remember as a kid, like one of the things I'll never forget, and my dad's watching, but he used to take us to the rink when we were like just in our like preteens. We would go out and skate, and you would try to maybe you see your friends or maybe see a girl you like, and you would skate. And we spent all this time at the rink on Friday nights. That was like where we went. So we skated, public skate. And so I played a lot of hockey. Either just kind of noodling around with my buds or playing in the neighborhood. But I knew at a young age I was never going to be good enough as an athlete. So I think that's what made me pick up the guitar. And
what was the first age for the guitar?
So I started originally playing all the way back at like 3 years old. Started to play piano. My dad's a musical guy, so I started to play piano, and then I played viola, saxophone. Tried all different types of instruments, just like you try all different types of sports to find what you like. I started actually playing the drums, and that was the first instrument I really stuck with. And I was in a couple bands. I was like, 12, 13 years old. Wow. And then I was like, I really want to write songs. I want to I feel like I want to say something, whatever a 13-year-old has to really say. And then by the time I was about 15 years old, I started to play the guitar, and that's really when the journey started. And then went through college, and by the time I finished college at 21, 20 years old, I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so that started the journey in earnest.
I'm guessing your dad then was an inspiration here, but other let's say more famous artists that you gravitated to and who influenced you?
I think it all starts for me. The first songwriter I ever heard that I loved John Mayer. I've always loved his, when I was coming up. That was the first CD. I remember I went into my older brother's room and stole it. We were talking earlier in the break about HMV record stores. He had an actual jewel case of Room for Squares in a CD tower. And I remember creeping in and stealing it and listening to it and going, this is the best thing ever. And so that started it. But then more recently, I think there's 2 artists that really stick out to me. One, Noah Kahn, who's always talking about the Northeast, and he always has a platform. He talks about Boston.
You'll have to make Season of the Hockey Sticks.
I will have to lean into that. Yeah. But his leaning into the Boston area, Northeast area, I was like, well, there's no song for Buffalo. Why not? I want to do that. And I think there's people here who can appreciate that, and I love that. And so there's him, and then this other artist out of England. His name is Sam Fender, who I absolutely adore.
On a bit of a trajectory.
He's climbing. And I was just talking to a friend of mine in England who was saying how big he is there, and he's starting to get big here. And his whole ethos too is I'm from Newcastle, from the north of England, and I'm trying to make this big global mark. That's kind of what I want to do, but make it Buffalo.
There's other kids in England from Liverpool that build a career off.
Just a couple, just a handful.
A small group.
And one of them might be here in November.
One of them is here in November. So what's next for you? Like what's on stage, concerts?
So I posted on my Instagram and my website, all under Stephen Babcock. Stephen with the PH. We're doing a little tour. We're playing this Saturday. Like for example, we're playing in Pittsburgh. We're doing a northeastern run where we're stopping in Philly, in New York City, Baltimore. Coming back, we're doing a big end of the year. It hasn't been totally announced yet, but a big end of the year kind of holiday show here in Buffalo.
Awesome.
So that's really the main thing, is just trying to get out and play as much as I can. To me, the playing live is I love being in the studio. I love writing songs. I love making songs. But the best thing is to be able to engage with people and play.
Now Pittsburgh is going to try to steal Hockey Town, right? Like they're going to try to.
They're going to try to steal.
Our song,
and I'll tell you, when we show up, they try to. But it's Buffalo.
Song.
That's right.
Yes.
Where are you playing in Pittsburgh?
This place called Haven. It's a small club in the city limits of Pittsburgh.
You played Pittsburgh a lot?
I play there pretty frequently. I try to, it's like when I go on the road, for me, playing in Cleveland and in Pittsburgh, respectively, it always feels like this kind of brotherhood. It's like,
yeah.
and I love that, and I feel like we're all kind of in it together. This kind of like Rust Belt,
There's so
vibe.
many good rooms in both those cities
Amazing.
that people would never know about. Like it's
Yeah.
just you really.
I
have
never
to
know
be
where Duffer is at.
Well, but like
because he's like gets in his car and he drives to Columbus or he drives to
and
Pittsburgh.
I know you're
But
a
I
big
try to
music
look
fan.
at it through Steven's eyes
Sure.
and just what it's like to no matter how many times you go back to Cleveland or Pittsburgh or even here, but like you can find a different place
100%.
to play, and I love
100%.
that. I think it must be refreshing as an artist.
It's great, and it's so nice now. Also, obviously, just having the internet, you can like look up all these places.
Yeah.
But what I find is really funny is even the last time we played in Cleveland, we played at a venue that somebody at the show we played before was like, you got to play this spot. Then we go play there. Well, then there was this other person from a different neighborhood in Cleveland, and they were saying, go here. So now we're going to go to that next spot. Yeah. And it just builds that community, not only just connecting with artists, but also with fans. And the last show I played in Cleveland, funny enough, the guy was there. He was from Toronto. He goes, I love Buffalo. I had no idea. He was in Cleveland. He's like, I love Buffalo. I just thought I'd come here on a trip with my wife. Became a fan, bought some merch. And now, we follow each other now on social media. It's just like, it's all like kind of spun together. It's really unique.
Now you tell him, go to Sabres games
I
because
yes.
that's fun.
I said, go. Yes, I said, come
That's
to Sabres
Hockey
game.
Town.
Yes,
Let's
Hockey
go.
Town. Let's exactly.
Congrats on
Thank
Hockey
you so
Town.
much.
Quick,
Thank you so much.
Quick opportunity to plug again where to find it and.
Everything's available at StephenBabcockMusic.com or at Stephen B Music on Instagram. All the music, Hockey Town included, is on Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever you stream music. Go check it out. Thanks, guys.